Millionaire Woman Pretends to be Poor. Marries Gardener. What she reveals after wedding shocks him. Charlotte Pemberton stands in the marble bathroom of her Malibu estate, carefully applying makeup designed to make her appear tired and financially stressed. At 36, she commands a real estate empire worth over $500 million, built from a single property investment into a portfolio that dominates California's luxury market. But this morning, she transforms herself into Emma Davis, a struggling single mother who cleans houses to support her young daughter. The elaborate deception began 6 months ago, when Charlotte realized that every relationship in her life was tainted by her wealth. Men pursued her for financial gain, friends maintained connections for social advantages, and even family members approached her with calculated requests disguised as casual conversation. Charlotte's loneliness had reached a breaking point where she questioned whether anyone could love her authentic self rather than her bank account. The catalyst for her deception was discovering her fiance's secret communications with his lawyer, discussing prenuptial strategies to maximize his potential settlement in case of divorce. The man who proclaimed his devotion was actually calculating the most profitable way to exploit her trust. Charlotte's heartbreak transformed into determination to discover whether genuine love was possible for someone in her financial position. Charlotte's disguise is meticulously crafted. She rents a modest apartment in a working-class neighborhood, purchases clothing from thrift stores, and creates a complete background story for Emma Davis, a widow whose husband died in a construction accident, leaving her to raise their 5-year-old daughter Lily while working multiple cleaning jobs to afford basic necessities. The transformation requires more than costume changes. Charlotte studies the mannerisms of financial struggle, learns to calculate purchases carefully, and develops the cautious optimism of someone who has learned that small improvements in circumstances represent significant victories. Emma Davis becomes a fully realized character with hopes, fears, and daily challenges that bear no resemblance to Charlotte Pemberton's privileged existence. Charlotte's new identity leads her to a job cleaning houses in affluent neighborhoods, ironically returning her to the world of wealth she's trying to escape. The work is physically demanding and emotionally challenging, providing Charlotte with perspective on how the other half lives while maintaining her proximity to the lifestyle she temporarily abandoned. Her assignment to clean the Henderson family's estate in Beverly Hills brings Charlotte into contact with Marcus Rivera, the property's head gardener. At 32, Marcus possesses a quiet strength and genuine kindness that immediately distinguishes him from the calculating men who typically pursue Charlotte's attention. His interactions with Emma reveal someone who sees beyond surface appearances to recognize character and worth. Marcus approaches his work with artistic passion that transforms the Henderson estate into a living masterpiece. His understanding of plant biology, landscape design, and seasonal maintenance demonstrates intelligence and skill that extend far beyond manual labor. More importantly, Marcus treats every living thing under his care plants, animals and people, with respect and genuine attention. Charlotte observes Marcus's interactions with the household staff and realizes that his kindness isn't performed for any audience but represents his authentic character. He remembers personal details about his colleagues' lives, offers help without being asked, and maintains relationships based on mutual respect rather than workplace hierarchy. Their relationship develops organically as Charlotte's cleaning schedule brings her into regular contact with Marcus's gardening work. Their conversations begin with pleasant exchanges about weather and work, but gradually deepen as Marcus's genuine interest in Emma's well-being creates opportunities for more personal connection. Marcus demonstrates concern for Emma's obvious exhaustion, her careful budgeting, and her struggles to balance work obligations with single motherhood. His attention isn't intrusive or patronizing, but reflects authentic care for someone he perceives as working harder than her circumstances should require. Marcus's empathy stems from his own background of financial struggle and his understanding of how difficult life can be for people without economic safety nets. Charlotte finds herself experiencing emotions she thought wealth had made impossible. Marcus's attention to Emma is motivated purely by attraction to her character, work ethic, and the glimpses of humor and intelligence she reveals during their conversations. He knows nothing about Charlotte's financial resources, her business success, or her social status. His interest is based entirely on who he believes her to be as a person. The relationship progresses as Marcus begins bringing Emma small gifts that demonstrate his thoughtfulness and financial limitations. Fresh vegetables from his personal garden plot, wildflowers arranged with artistic skill, and homemade lunch to share during their brief breaks between work obligations. Each gesture reveals someone who expresses care through attention and creativity rather than expensive purchases. Charlotte realizes that Marcus's modest gifts mean more to her than any luxury she's ever received, because they represent genuine thought and personal sacrifice rather than casual expenditure. His offerings come from his heart and his limited resources, making them infinitely more valuable than the calculated presentations she's accustomed to receiving from wealthy suitors. Their romance develops against the backdrop of Charlotte's elaborate deception, creating internal conflict as her feelings deepen. She loves Marcus's authentic character and his genuine care for Emma, but recognizes that their relationship is built on fundamental dishonesty about her identity and circumstances. Marcus's proposal comes after 4 months of courtship that has been entirely grounded in what he believes about Emma's character and situation. He offers marriage not as a grand romantic gesture, but as a practical solution to their mutual affection and Emma's financial struggles. Marcus wants to provide stability for Emma and Lily while building a life together based on shared values and genuine love. The proposal takes place in the Henderson Estates garden after their workday ends, surrounded by the beauty Marcus has created through years of dedicated care. He explains that his savings are modest but sufficient to rent a larger apartment where they could live as a family. His vision for their future focuses on simple happiness, shared meals, weekend activities with Lily, and the satisfaction of building something meaningful together. Charlotte accepts Marcus's proposal while feeling the weight of her deception pressing against her conscience. She loves this man who sees her worth beyond financial considerations, but recognizes that their marriage will be based on lies that could destroy everything if revealed. Her eyes commit her to maintaining Emma Davis's identity while hoping that Marcus's love is strong enough to survive eventual truth. Their wedding is a small ceremony at the local courthouse, attended by a few of Marcus's co-workers and neighbors who have come to know and care about Emma. Charlotte experiences genuine happiness mixed with profound guilt as she exchanges vows with a man who believes he's marrying someone entirely different from who she actually is. The modest wedding reception takes place in Marcus's small apartment, decorated with flowers from his garden and featuring food prepared by friends who wanted to contribute to the celebration. Charlotte observes the community that has embraced Emma and realizes that these relationships, built on perceived shared circumstances and mutual support, represent something her wealth has never been able to purchase. But Charlotte's joy is tempered by the recognition that her marriage is founded on deception that grows more elaborate each day. Marcus's love for Emma is genuine and complete, but Charlotte knows that revealing her true identity could destroy both his trust and their relationship. The success of her deception has trapped her in a lie that becomes more difficult to maintain and more painful to perpetuate as their intimacy deepens. The chapter ends with Charlotte and Marcus beginning their married life in his modest apartment. Her designer clothes hidden away while she continues to play the role of Emma Davis. Charlotte has achieved her goal of finding someone who loves her without regard to her wealth, but realizes that maintaining this love requires perpetual dishonesty that threatens the authentic connection she sought to discover. 3 months into their marriage, Charlotte struggles with the increasing complexity of maintaining her double life while living in intimate proximity with Marcus. Their small apartment requires her to hide all evidence of her true identity. Expensive skincare products, designer clothing, and the sophisticated mannerisms that wealth has ingrained in her behavior. Every day presents new challenges in sustaining Emma Davis's character while building genuine intimacy with her husband. Marcus's love for Emma has deepened into the kind of partnership Charlotte never experienced in her previous relationships. He shares household responsibilities naturally, contributes his entire income to their joint expenses, and treats Charlotte's daughter Lily, who is actually an actress Charlotte hired to complete her deception, with the patient affection of a devoted stepfather. But Charlotte observes troubling signs that her deception is creating unintended consequences. Marcus works longer hours and takes on additional weekend jobs to provide better for their family, his physical exhaustion evident as he pushes himself beyond reasonable limits. His dedication to supporting Emma and Lily financially is destroying his health, while he remains unaware that his wife possesses resources that could eliminate their struggles instantly. The guilt becomes unbearable when Marcus surprises Charlotte by using his savings to plan a modest vacation for their family, a weekend camping trip that represents a significant financial sacrifice for someone at his income level. His excitement about providing this small luxury for Emma and Lily highlights the disparity between his perceived obligation to support them and Charlotte's hidden ability to provide anything they might need. Charlotte's internal conflict reaches a crisis point when Marcus confides his dreams for their future. He describes plans to eventually save enough money to start his own landscaping business, his vision for creating beautiful outdoor spaces that bring joy to working families who couldn't otherwise afford professional garden design. His ambitions are modest but deeply meaningful, representing years of careful financial planning and personal sacrifice. Marcus also reveals his concerns about Emma's health and apparent stress, not recognizing that her tension stems from maintaining her deception rather than financial worry. His loving attention to what he perceives as her struggles makes Charlotte's continued dishonesty feel increasingly cruel and manipulative. The breaking point comes when Charlotte overhears Marcus on the phone with his sister, explaining that he's canceled plans to visit their elderly mother because he can't afford the travel expenses after paying for the family vacation. Marcus's willingness to sacrifice his own family relationships to provide for Emma and Lily forces Charlotte to confront the real cost of her deception. Charlotte realizes that her experiment in finding authentic love has created genuine harm for the person she claims to love most. Marcus is sacrificing his health, his financial security, and his family relationships to support people he believes need his protection, while Charlotte possesses the resources to eliminate every concern that motivates his exhausting efforts. Revelation happens not through Charlotte's planned confession, but through a chance encounter that destroys her carefully constructed identity. While shopping for groceries with Marcus, Charlotte encounters her business partner Jennifer, who recognizes her despite the disguise and approaches with obvious confusion about seeing Charlotte in such modest circumstances. Jennifer's surprise at finding one of California's most successful real estate moguls grocery shopping in a working-class neighborhood with a man she's never met creates a moment of recognition that Charlotte cannot explain away. Marcus observes the interaction with growing confusion as Jennifer's comments about Charlotte's business dealings and upcoming property acquisitions reveal information that contradicts everything he believes about his wife's identity and circumstances. Confrontation that follows represents the most difficult conversation of Charlotte's life. Marcus's initial disbelief gives way to hurt and anger as Charlotte explains the extent of her deception, her real name, her enormous wealth, her manufactured background as Emma Davis, and even the truth about Lily being an actress rather than her daughter. Marcus's reaction reveals the depth of his betrayal. He had fallen in love with Emma Davis, a struggling, single mother whose strength and character inspired his devotion and protection. Discovering that Charlotte Pemberton created this entire persona as an experiment in finding authentic love makes him question everything about their relationship and his own judgment. The most painful aspect of Marcus's anger focuses not on Charlotte's wealth, but on her deliberate deception about circumstances that motivated his sacrifices. He worked himself to exhaustion, trying to provide for a family that never needed his financial support, canceled visits to his own mother to afford luxuries for people who could buy anything they desired, and built his entire sense of purpose around protecting Charlotte from struggles she never actually faced. Marcus feels manipulated and foolish, recognizing that every gesture of love and sacrifice was based on false information that Charlotte provided to maintain her experiment. His genuine care for Emma and Lily has been exploited to create the very authenticity Charlotte claimed to seek, making their entire relationship feel like an elaborate performance rather than genuine connection. Charlotte's attempts to explain her motivations, her loneliness, her desire to be loved for herself rather than her money, her previous experiences with people who exploited her wealth, fail to justify the elaborate deception that has defined their entire relationship. Marcus recognizes that Charlotte's problems with wealth are real, but he cannot accept that solving them required such extensive dishonesty about fundamental aspects of her identity. The most devastating moment comes when Marcus realizes that Charlotte's deception prevented him from making informed choices about their relationship. He loved Emma Davis's strength in facing adversity, her dedication to her daughter despite financial limitations, and her ability to find joy in simple pleasures despite difficult circumstances. These qualities that attracted him were all manufactured responses to fake situations rather than authentic character traits. Marcus moves out of their apartment, unable to continue living with someone whose basic identity remains questionable. Charlotte's experiment in finding authentic love has destroyed the genuine connection she thought she had discovered, leaving her more isolated than when her deception began. But the aftermath of revelation creates unexpected opportunities for genuine understanding. Marcus's initial anger gives way to recognition that Charlotte's wealth doesn't negate the person he fell in love with. Many of Emma's qualities were authentic expressions of Charlotte's actual character rather than completely fabricated responses to artificial circumstances. Charlotte's genuine remorse and her willingness to accept the consequences of her deception demonstrate the authenticity Marcus thought he had lost. Her decision to end the charade despite its cost to their relationship shows the kind of integrity that attracted him to Emma Davis, suggesting that some aspects of their connection were based on Charlotte's real character rather than manufactured persona. The resolution comes when Charlotte proves her love through actions rather than explanations. She uses her resources to support Marcus's dream of starting his landscaping business, not as an attempt to buy his forgiveness, but as recognition that his talent and vision deserve opportunities that her deception previously prevented him from pursuing. More importantly, Charlotte demonstrates her commitment to honesty by revealing her true self completely, her insecurities about wealth, her genuine loneliness, her authentic appreciation for Marcus's character, and her real desire to build a relationship based on truth rather than carefully managed presentations. Marcus's decision to rebuild their relationship comes with a new understanding of who Charlotte actually is rather than who she pretended to be. Their love develops on a foundation of honesty about both Charlotte's wealth and Marcus's ability to love someone regardless of their financial circumstances. The story concludes with Charlotte and Marcus creating a partnership that serves both their authentic selves. Charlotte's resources supporting Marcus's landscaping business, while Marcus's character and vision help Charlotte use her wealth for purposes beyond personal isolation and protection. Their marriage, rebuilt on truth rather than deception, proves that authentic love can survive even fundamental dishonesty when both people choose honesty and genuine connection over the safety of manufactured identities. Charlotte's shocking revelation after their wedding forced both of them to confront what love really means when trust and identity are tested, ultimately creating a stronger relationship based on accepting each other's complete truth rather than carefully edited versions of themselves. The millionaire woman who pretended to be poor to find authentic love discovered that real connection requires complete honesty, not just about circumstances but about the fears and insecurities that motivate deception. Marcus's love proved strong enough to survive Charlotte's lies because it was based on recognizing authentic character beneath fabricated circumstances, while Charlotte learned that genuine relationships require the courage to be completely truthful rather than strategically vulnerable.
Thank you for watching this story unfold with us here on M&A The Story Unfolds. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new tale. We'd love to know where you're watching from. Leave a comment below and tell us what part of the world you're joining us from. Your support means everything. See you in the next story.